views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the transformative show, We Carry the Light, with host Dr. Susan Allison, the show that inspires you to find the light within and shine your light in the world. Who are you right now? And who do you want to be? What is it that makes you happy, helps you feel fulfilled, and living your purpose? Tune in and let Dr. Susan help you discover that you carry the unique light that only you can shine. Now, here is your host, Dr. Susan Allison.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to We Carry the Light. I am Dr. Susan, and I'm so glad you're here. You know, this week I've been reading a fun and provocative book, Lord Have Murphy, Waking Up in the Spiritual Marketplace. The book is full of puns and plays on words to both make fun of the self-help industry and its gurus, and to help us find ways to wake up to who we are. The book's author, Fran, has helped me remember times when I was actually, this is embarrassing to say, I was really a self-help workshop junkie. I don't think I can even count the number of workshops, seminars, retreats, intensives that I've attended. Some of them have been very helpful for my own evolution, I must say, and they were needed at a time when I was at a certain stage and needed a little push, and I do appreciate those folks in those good workshops. I've also spent, as she talks about in the book, tens of thousands of dollars on my own growth. And perhaps I could have done it all just by sitting and meditating, as I have for over 30 years, meditating and praying before I get out of bed in the morning, and a couple other times during the day I meditate. Maybe I could have done it that way, but I didn't. I went to a million different seminars. So, there are gurus and leaders and facilitators out there also who are charlatans. They are outright thieves, and we do need to be careful and be discerning. What cured me of my constant seeking of enlightenment outside myself was falling into what I now see was a cult. It was masquerading as a transformative seminar series. Now, I'm not going to mention the famous person's name. She probably would sue me. But she really wanted to be worshipped. And she even sat on a throne, literally a throne, up in front of us. And her devotees / assistants in the seminar were scurrying around and bringing her everything she wanted. It was quite interesting. So, being in that person's presence taught me a great deal. It taught me about the need to be more discerning. She really did want to be worshipped. And, she threw crumbs out to her followers and so forth, and also punished those who questioned what was happening in her organization. So I did get out, thankfully, after my husband told me that he thought I was in a cult. And after being castigated on a group phone call in which the leader said I was undermining and trying to sabotage the entire group. Well, this was because I was questioning what was going on in the organization. So she attacked me and then tried to get the entire group against me. But she failed to do that. And on the phone call, they would not speak up and say anything to me that was negative, which was to their credit. When anyone tried to leave the organization, the group was told they were evil and not have contact with that person, and then the person leaving became an outcast and a pariah. Even someone who had a brain tumor who tried to leave was also talked badly about behind her back and was punished when she left by having no contact with anyone in the group. So this was quite a difficult experience, as you can imagine. And it shows us that not every self-help group is healthy, or that its founders really want our highest good. And I feel that, again, this is the third time I've said it, but we must be discerning. Now I go to a free daily meditation group in a local Buddhist center, and I love doing that. I love meditating in a group for the energy, and it's an incredible experience, and it's free. It's just by donation, and it's really helped me to continue to awaken within myself. Recently, I met a new friend there who said this, and I loved it. She said, "I am not broken, and I don't need fixing." Wow. That is so important. I've been saying that to myself and telling my clients that phrase when I meet with them. So the practice I'm doing now is about paying attention, being awake to my surroundings, my body, my senses, my feelings, really allowing whatever's there to come up. In fact, one person who led a meditation recently kept saying, "Just allow." And it was perfect, the word allow, just allowing whatever's up just to surface, just to bubble up. So waking up is also a major theme for our guest today, who is Fran Shaw. Fran is a longtime practitioner in a spiritual discipline, and she's also a university professor and an award-winning author whose books include Notes on the Next Attention, Writing My Yoga, Poems for Presence, 50 Ways to Help You Write, and of course, Lord Have Murphy, Waking Up in the Spiritual Marketplace, which is what we'll be talking about today. Lord Have Murphy is a unique, invaluable guide that helps readers to recognize their own power. Anyone who takes the time to truly absorb the messages in Murphy's story and follow the advice within will learn exactly how he or she can overcome challenges to live by choice, not by chance. Let's welcome Fran Shaw. Hi, Fran.
Hi, Susan.
So hope you're doing well this morning.
Just wonderful. I'm so moved by your story. My goodness, I know what that feels like, just want to say.
Yep. You know what, I think also, I didn't say this earlier, but I was in a very vulnerable place. And I think that organizations like that, with leaders that really want, to sort of be at the right hand of God, they really prey on people who are vulnerable and who need a guru or need someone to tell them how to find enlightenment or whatever they're seeking. I mean, have you seen that as well?
We're so hungry for this because it's almost like something is obviously shifting on the planet, because we're having, people doing mindfulness meditation in corporations, and we have yoga studios in every corner, and it's easy to really find a meditation group so you can sort of be in that energy with other people in a very collected way, which is so powerful. So we are really, really hungry for this, no question about that. And of course, part of human nature is let's make some money, from this, or perhaps the ego needs some kind to be inflated because there's a lack. We feel incomplete.
Yep.
It's very interesting because there's a chapter in Lord Have Murphy that talks about finding a teacher or recognizing a teacher. Got in there because I had a millennial friend of my son's staying with me one day, and he seemed very interested in finding something, but didn't really know how can you tell, as Murphy puts it, in the maze of sages, which one is real. Yeah. And I think what you said about having an alert attention, really trying to be as present as possible in the body, just as if you sort of even like when you walk by the ocean, you're in California, or you're in the mountains, or you look at the leaves and the trees, and sometimes you become very present in yourself, or really here, full of present moment awareness. That's all you need to do in order to know sort of deep inside of you whether the person that's speaking to you is also sort of vibrating at that place, or even at a higher place. And for myself, if you look in the eyes or you listen to someone who is speaking about being awake, there should be absolutely no agenda there except for you, the one that's listening or watching, to be awake. No other agenda possible. You just feel that person is sort of like a conduit of some kind of energy that he or she is internally aligned in a certain way, where you begin to be aligned in that way also when you're listening, and you feel nothing but this really fine finer energy that's animating us, this sacred energy that's hidden from our ordinary mind, but coming into us at every moment. People call it a lot of words for it. People call it spirit or finer attention or higher intelligence, Lord, God, that energy. So that's what you want to. If you begin to experience that in the presence of someone, and you can tell that your state absolutely changes. That one moment you were in your head thinking, and the next moment you're inhabiting your body with attention, and then all of a sudden maybe the light in the room changes, or your ears become very sensitive. You're listening with both ears. That's a sign that you are shifting into a higher level of consciousness. And I'm not sure whether it can happen. I think it can happen even if you're in front of a charlatan, that you could wake up, But the thing is, the most marvelous thing that I discovered after all these decades, in trying to be awake and conscious, is that finer energy that's flowing through us, that if I become sensitive to enough, is the teacher. That's the one I have a guide in me. I've just hidden.
Right. And I love, I just want to mention to listeners that this is your book that we're talking about, Lord Have Mercy. And the page that I've turned to is reflecting what you're saying. Attention is the teacher. Focused attention is my compass. As present as possible, actively alert, and as often as possible, aware of my breathing, my listening. A teacher may appear when I am ready, when there is an abiding interest in waking up. Yeah. So I just feel like that's perfect in terms of what you were just talking about.
That's exactly the passage that I was referring to.
Yeah. No, I love it. And it's an art, is it not? And we do our best. And we actually have to already take a break, which happens to me all the time. I could talk to people for a couple hours. But we're going to be right back with Fran Shaw and Lord Have Mercy.
Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
We Carry the Light with host Dr. Susan Allison is the show that inspires you to find the light within and shine your light in the world. You'll hear from guests who model how to be the highest, brightest, most evolved, fulfilled, and conscious humans possible. Tune in each Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com and let Dr. Susan help you discover that you carry the unique light that only you can shine.
Tired of traditional talk? People pontificating about this or that, the left or the right. Sometimes the truth is just all lost in the noise. Tune in each week to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher on TransformationTalkRadio.com, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, as nationally known guests talk about what's important to you, your life, your concerns, and your success. Tune in and turn on to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher. Visit ChuckGallagher.com for more information.
Do you want to transform your life's trauma and challenges into the gift that your life was meant to be? It's time for you to take control of your soul journey to heal, grow, and shine. Manifest your destiny with Wendy Wolf, soul transformer, energy, and psychic healer. To start your soul journey, contact Wendy at healgrowshine.com or email Wendy at wendy@wendyrwolf.com and start your adventure today.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
Artie Hoffman is the hottest psychic with the warmest heart and the host of the hit show Angels and Answers. A renowned psychic, medium, spiritual life coach, and an entertaining motivational speaker, Artie has helped over 15,000 people with his amazing intuitive gifts, his passion, and his humor. Call 877-ANGEL-02 to schedule a personal reading or to have your own psychic Artie party. That's 877-ANGEL-02. And visit artiehoffman.com and Angels and Answers on Facebook.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome back, everyone, to We Carry the Light, and I'm Dr. Susan, and I have Fran Shaw with me today, who has written the book, Lord Have Mercy, Waking Up in the Spiritual Marketplace. We've been having a fantastic conversation, both on air and off. And Fran, I'd like to hear more, actually, because this wasn't in the book, but I'd like to hear more about your own journey, your own experience becoming awakened and aware in terms of your path. So if you can briefly just tell us a bit about your path and then obviously how it led to writing this book.
Personal history is interesting, perhaps. It's not particularly interesting to me right now anymore.
But, so just be as brief, but I'm interested, and sometimes I think my listeners are always interested in the human interest story of who you are that made you write this book, and maybe just talk about that.
Well, I'm not quite sure where to begin. I mean, the real search for something else occurred when I was, I think I was in my 20s perhaps, and a really, really close friend, someone whom I love very much, whom I've been living with a few other people, left the premises and took everything in the house with him.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was like such a shock. And of course, this whole thing has another perspective now for me because I understand it from another point of view. But at the time, I couldn't understand how anyone could do that, you know? And so I started reading every sort of book to try to understand how people can, that you love and who you feel love you, could behave in such a disruptive and hurtful way.
Yes.
And so I found a book, after reading every sort of book on the shelf, that talked about people being asleep. I thought, well, what does that mean? And, well, if people are asleep, it's sort of like, you know, like Jesus said, you know, they know not what they do, you know.
Yes.
Forgive them, they know not what they do. And
Right.
I thought, my goodness. So then I became interested in what does it mean to be psychologically asleep and seeing in myself, oh, my God, that's right. I am always in reactive mode. You know, I'm always a thought or a feeling or a reaction that's driving, you know, what I do. Where am I in this? What more is here? What would it mean to wake up from that, you know, kind of prison of that kind of consciousness? So that got it going. This is many decades ago. And so in a certain way, when you start seeking, the universe sort of starts to provide different, well, look at this, look at that.
That's right.
And I did connect finally with one teacher who led to another teacher who was actually the first awakened man that I had ever met. And I just knew that this person was absolutely living in an awakened state. I knew this because it wouldn't matter what this person said. Just being, he could have been reading the phone book, just being in his presence, he was internally aligned in a certain way that in his presence, I would align internally in that way. Nothing that I did, but somehow we'd sort of vibrate the same way. And then I became more and more sensitive to what's actually animating this body, animating all of us. That very subtle energy I was talking about before that you can become very sensitive or receptive to once you're with somebody who also is sensitive or receptive to. And you need to, you know, practice, all these practices that we're doing, mindfulness and yoga and all these workshops, even positive affirmations and things, are all wonderful because they remind us that, well, wait a minute, there is another way of being alive, but how do I actually taste this other way of being alive? So that's what I have been doing. And then, of course, one of the teachers disappointed me tremendously. There was a whole, cult-like thing happening around it that just scared the heck out of me because it was like, wow, this, you had this moment of intense disillusionment with something that you sort of staked your life on for a while.
Yeah.
And so I understand exactly what you're saying. But that disillusionment, again, it was like another door opening because I had to then begin to rely on myself. What tools did I have? The tool of attention, of course, is our greatest tool, conscious attention, focused attention, even just sensing the top of my head and my seat on the chair and my feet on the floor, or the sensation of the palms of my hands, just inhabiting the body with attention. That's the foot in the door to self-awareness. And then you can go from there to even crossing another threshold, which is subtler energies, that are here that we don't see, that are actually animating us. So, and so I had to rely on myself. And then I worked more with this teacher who was awake, and that has helped me very much. He's long since passed, but I still feel like I'm getting help.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I love what you're saying. And it's interesting, this new place I'm going, this meditation center, if someone is sort of leading it, that's what they say. They say, feel yourself, where your contact hits the chair, settle in, enliven your senses, notice what you're feeling, notice what you're hearing, and so forth. And it really gets me present. And I think that's what you're talking about, is that we need to be present within us. And then things bubble up, or then we have insights or whatever. But I think what happens in our culture, there was once a book called Society as Addict. And I do think that our culture is famous for reaching outside ourselves for everything. So, to me, this is part of that, is that, I keep a magic wand in my office, for instance, because I tease people and say, would you like me just to wave this over you? And you've lost 25 pounds, you found the love of your life, you have the perfect job, and we laugh, but the person goes, yes, please do. Just wave that wand over me. But, don't you think that's an issue in our culture, that we're always going outside us?
Well, that's exactly what Murphy says at the beginning of Chapter 1. He says, when will Buddha bring the ice cream? I'd like the instant enlightenment sundae, please, with no nuts. And could I have it to go? That so is our culture.
It's so true.
Always looking outside, always want it fast. But the thing that's very interesting, and this relates to some things that you were saying at the very beginning, there's a chapter in Lord Have Mercy, and of course Murphy's much funnier than I am. He does this with humor, of course, but where he talks about this. It's a chapter in Lord Have Mercy called Wake Book, and he talks about not merely observing mode, which is what you said happens at the center, and what I just talked about, so that I'm aware of my posture now. I have the mind connects with the body, aware of the posture now, and maybe even my tone of voice. It may be as if a camera was looking at me. I could almost have an impression of my facial expression. This observing mode, witnessing, being under observation. I think Murphy calls it, it's reality show me, streaming kind of live video of myself while I'm behaving. But what he says is that there's another step beyond that.
Yeah.
And the step beyond that is what he calls receiving mode. And how he explains it as if it's an app that you can get, But he explains it as when my mind is connected to my body through this observation, that the mind is actively trying to, sense the body, the limbs, the torso, maybe aware of, the movements of breathing, anything that connects mind and body. And the feelings, of course, join in, because the feelings are interested in, let's continue with this observation, let's continue with this present moment awareness, let's do it. That at a certain moment, when I have my mind, body, and feelings unified in that way, it makes possible direct perception of the animating, much subtler energy that's flowing through us. Yeah. So that's what receiving mode is, and that's what the book is really about, moving from self-awareness across the threshold into awakening so that you're actually living in this moment in both streams, both my everyday Fran and also with an awareness second by second, and it comes and goes, but second by second of this very subtle something, this energy. It's really vibrational that's sort of moving through us. So when you said, I don't need fixing, that has another meaning. Fran doesn't need fixing because, you see, it's not about what's being seen. It's not about, I'm not information gathering. I am shifting. It's not about content. It's about vibration. Yeah. Fran can be just as she is in any mood, in any shape, form, configuration. She can be grumpy Fran. She could be discouraged Fran. She could be whatever the thought or feeling is that's fleeting. If one just begins to observe the body as if it's an object like that and starts connecting up the parts, body, mind, and feelings, sometimes there's a shift into a tremendous quality of sensitivity, and then all of a sudden I'm aware of, this tingling in my hands and my fingertips, of the quality of light around me, and all of a sudden I feel as if I'm in both streams, that I'm not just in the Fran stream, and that personal sort of just drops away. It's like, Fran, okay, good, that's fine. Nothing about Fran is dominating at this moment because there's this attention for another stream of energy that's always there and that we can perceive because it's penetrating every cell, and we can perceive it because we're human beings. That's what the hidden message of the book is about. It's in all the funny drawings. It's in all of it's even behind all the jokes. But that's the hidden message.
Yeah, I agree. And we need to take another break, but we're going to come back and talk about how you do that. Really, how are you going to not only be aware of yourself, but also be in the stream where you're receiving? We'll be right back.
Preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Are you ready to thread your life with intuition? Intuit Apparel can help you do just that. This is not just about a piece of clothing. This is about a movement, an awakening, and staying centered in life. Your life. Intuitive and host of the radio show Get Into It, Lynn Brown, was given this image with the intention of a clothing line designed to represent the essence of life itself. Visit intuitapparel.com now and wear your intuition with pride.
Become a self-actualized professional coach, mentor, and leader, and make your difference in the world. The Rayner Institute has trained people from 4 continents and is the top-rated, accredited coach platform in the world. You'll learn skills from a program created by Mark Rayner as a result of 35 years of research as to what actually works for positive, lasting change. Come if you dare and give your life a chance at making the difference it so desires. Visit RaynerInstitute.com to learn more.
Doctor loves quickies.
Mary's about ready to give love the shove, 'cause no matter what she tries, guys don't know that she's alive. To turn guys on, she needs to turn on those green lights, nonverbal cues that say, over here. Most guys won't approach unless they're cleared for landing. So ladies, to kickstart your love life, turn on those green lights and flash your pearly whites. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf of AskDrLove.com.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
When I'm out walking, I strut my stuff, and I'm so strung out. I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. Let me go on, like I glister in the sun. Let me go on, big hands, I know you're the one.
All right, welcome back. This is Dr. Susan, and the show is We Carry the Light, and I have Fran Shaw here with me, who wrote the book, Lord Have Murphy. And Fran, before the break, we were talking about these streams that we tap into, and I wanted to have you tell listeners more practically how they can do this?
It's interesting because the word that you mentioned at the beginning about just allowing has another meaning for me in this, because it's as if I can, and come into a sensation of the body. In other words, perhaps I'll intentionally, sense my right arm, my right leg, left leg, my left arm, my abdomen, my chest, my head. In other words, I'm trying to sense the internal experience of my body. At the same time as maybe I'll try to have this impression almost as if a camera is on me, as if my body's being seen. And then, as you said before, perhaps then my senses, or I could do it another way with my senses opening so that I'm listening with my right ear and also with my left ear. Anything that expands awareness of this living body in this shape at this moment, taking in these impressions, is the foot in the door. And we do this when we meditate. We do this when we do a walking, meditation, where we're trying to be aware while we're walking, each foot in contact with the ground. All of this can bring us more into present moment awareness, as we've heard a lot about the last 10 years. And then the question of allowing the whole body, this is at the beginning at least, to become sort of so relaxed, and the attention to fill it so much that you become sort of like a totally receptive receiver of impressions. So the sounds are coming in, the light's coming in, the sensation of the body, the whole of the body, if possible, a global impression of what it feels like to be in the body, sensing the body. And just to stay here, have an attention that can stay a little longer in the body. Then sometimes I feel as if then the thoughts sort of get a little quieter. There's almost like a space between the thoughts. They just kind of quiet down on their own. I don't do it. But I allow my attention that I have focused to be as totally receptive as possible while inhabiting the whole of my body. And sometimes then I begin to notice certain things that begin to shift. It's very hard to describe. Obviously, there's a lot of words, a lot of names, but we don't know what this is that we're shifting into. But for me, there's usually, I'm aware very much of the light around my arms for a moment, or all of a sudden my ears become very, very sensitive. I may have a tingling through my body, certain parts of it, the hands, for instance, or the fingertips. And it's as if something even subtler than sensation of muscle and tissue is available. I allow this to appear. I try to pay attention to it a little more. I try to focus on the very, very something streaming through my body. Perhaps coming in from the top of the head, streaming down through the face and shoulders and chest and stomach and down through the limbs and the feet. And that's how it goes for me. Other people may have a different experience, but when I actually can pay attention to this very finer stream and allow it to appear and allow it to sort of fill me, so there's a different quality even of light. It's kind of a glow that appears. Then I feel as if, I'm in both streams. And now I want to be able to not just only be in both streams, but to be able to get up from the chair and go cut strawberries while in both streams. In other words, Murphy calls it getting on the bus running, because it's as if, I'm not going to sit in meditation all day long. This is not of interest to me. But if the more one can come in and stay in one's body, have attention in one's body, then my attention is joining this sacred, finer attention, this other vibration that is really, it's not mine and not in my control, but it's what I am. I know that sounds like a paradox, but not in my control. I can't do it. But without me becoming available for this impression, it can't come into the earth. It can't come to the planet. So it's very mysterious. It's all unknown. Yep. You know what I'm saying? The mind is not going to get it. It's a shift, a vibrational shift.
That's right. And that's why when I was telling you during the break that when I get these divine downloads, whether it's a song that comes in or a new book, book idea comes in, I am often I put my brain on pause. I put the mind on pause, and I'm walking in a forest. I'm walking my dog. I'm driving my car with no radio on. I'm on my bike. That's when they come in because it's because the mind, the brain is not doing it. Now there is this stream, this sort of connection of energy, and I tend to say it's sort of my higher self or intuition is connected to a higher self or an oversoul, or there's something that I'm plugging into. It's what the transcendentalists call the oversoul. But there's something that is greater that I'm tapping into, and it comes through.
Exactly. This is what I do with all the writing experiments in the books on writing, because I'm a professor of writing for many decades, and in my creative writing classes and in the book I did Writing My Yoga and all those 50 Ways to Help You Write, all those writing experiments. What I try to do with my students and what I do with myself is to maybe do a 2 or 3 minute a sensory awareness exercise, or relaxing the body, sensing the body exercise, kind of clearing away everything that's in us when we sit down to write. And in your case, being on the bike or walking the dog is perfect because you're out in nature and you're not thinking. The thinking is not getting in the way. And so that is a shift into this finer energy, whether we are recognizing it yet or not. That's source of creativity. I mean, it's not my creativity. It's just like this Murphy book. I don't feel like I wrote it. I feel like something took over and came through, because that's not a voice I write in. It's like,
no,
Murphy, he's so much funnier than I am.
It's so interesting to me. In fact, that's a question that I have for you is, who the heck is Murphy? And how did Murphy come through? And Murphy is, in the drawings and, in the funny things he says, like where did that come from?
It's really a good question, because he's such an innocent. He's like, no matter what he notices in the spiritual marketplace, and he doesn't mince words about it. He's funny about it, but I would never be so brave as to, say anything against anybody. But Murphy's like, let's take a look at this here. This smells a little bit, So the thing is that he just, I was trying to write a book about higher consciousness because I was on sabbatical. I had to write a book, and I wanted to do a book about that because I really feel that writing can be a vibrational practice that it can help me to be awake while I write. And write to wake up to write. So, and I was looking at some of these great drawings by Bruce M. Sherman that are in the book. They're so funny, and they're all about higher consciousness, but they're funny. And he had written on the side of one of a kneeling man, "Lord have mercy." I thought, that's great. That's the tone I want in the book. You've got to be funny about this, because we have to laugh at ourselves at how identified we get and how wound up in our beliefs and everything and our thoughts. So I wrote the words Murphy here, and then all of a sudden this voice came through, and he was talking about the difficulties of writing about higher consciousness, how, writing about the mystery and putting your hands all over it, and people who believing in the one who thinks she knows, and all of these pitfalls about writing about higher consciousness. And it was so funny. And my husband just heard me laughing at the computer, and I thought, oh, this is great. It was so entertaining to have Murphy be talking about these things. I didn't think it was going to be
hysterical.
A book. I'm going to try to get him to blog on my website.
Oh, God. It's so funny. Of course, because I've been a graduate student and, am a psychologist, I mean, the way he pokes fun at everything is hysterical. For instance, this is page 56 where he's talking about kind of graduate student theses.
Yes.
This one, The No Ethics of Big Gurus, with diamond-studded eyewear, Rolls Royces, and mansions. And it goes on, but it's, a look beneath the golden robes of the spiritually well-endowed. I mean, I found myself laughing out loud at that, and also at the bibliography of looking at, oh my God, this is making fun of John Gray, but, men are for cars, women are for castles.
Right.
And stuff like that. I mean, it's just hysterical.
He has tremendous verbal skills, this Murphy. I mean, he can pun on anything. I mean, he talks about knee-jerk reactions and manipulationships, and he's always making up words. But yet he has this attitude, no matter what he sees. That's why I said he's an innocent. The attitude is, but I can work with that. If he sees that he's involved in what he calls these little diseases of identification, like identificationalis, judgmental lost focositis, or these little, or I'm special, you're in my way, shovitis, or these things that he notices about himself and others. He always says, but I can work with that. And I would love to have that attitude no matter what Fran is doing or anybody else in the world is doing. It can be my neutral bell ringing that can remind me, gee, I can come back into myself now. I can inhabit myself with attention and maybe even join this other attention, this finer attention that's animating me and everybody at every moment. That's right. What I love about it. He just rings that bell all the time for me. It cheers me up to read the book.
It cheers me up as well. And we do need to take a break, and we're going to be right back with Fran Shaw.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Have you been seeing numbers like 111 and 222 everywhere you go? Do you feel that the universe may be trying to get your attention, perhaps offering a message of some sort? As it turns out, numerical patterns and certain types of geometry form the very fabric of our reality, from cells under a microscope to the astronomy of our night sky. At Stellar Reflections, we offer special sessions which tap into these patterns, designed specifically to support you on your journey. The 111 and 222 activations are sessions activating new patterns in your energy field, which in turn can help you create new patterns in your life. After just one session with a practitioner, either in person or via distance, clients report gaining greater clarity, becoming more intuitive, and honoring their inner truth as they move forward in their lives. Curious about what these transformational sessions might do for you? Call 425-999-9836 or visit stellarreflections.com. That's stellarreflections.com.
Holistic Medical Center is where you find it all. A healthy space with doctors who care, see, and listen to the whole you. Hi, this is Dr. Darvish. If you have not found an answer to your chronic symptoms, you will find answers here at Holistic Medical Center. Our doctors find the root cause of your symptoms and guide your body towards healing naturally. We transform lives from within. Visit drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
Each month, listen to Live More Radio with co-host Allie Katz. Join Allie and Dr. Pat as Allie introduces new ways to bring balance back to your life through meditation, sleep, and exercise techniques, so you can live your truly authentic life. Stress less, live more. To learn more about Allie, visit livemoreradio.com.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show, insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a fourth-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome back to We Carry the Light, and Fran Shaw and I are having a wonderful conversation about higher consciousness and talking about her book, Lord Have Mercy. So Fran, tell listeners how to get your book, how to contact you, and anything that you want to mention that's happening of interest to them.
I would love to have any contact that anyone can go to. I have a new website. It's called FranShawBooks.com, FranShawBooks.com, and certainly can contact me through that website. It has not only the Lord Have Mercy, Waking Up in the Spiritual Marketplace, but it has two other books mentioned of all the books I've written, because I've written a lot of them, about attention, a book that has to do with actually, as you had asked me before, more like my journey and working with a certain teacher. And there's a book called Writing My Yoga, and there's a book called Notes on the Next Attention, which is a really vibrational book. It's not about concepts. You know, you read a few sentences, and it carries a vibration that sort of immediately, can help. Also, it just so happens that today on BeliefNet, if you ever go to that website, there's an article with some Murphy drawings and a little article by me. Right on page 1, there's a link. It's called 3 Hidden Keys to Higher Self. And it's a little gallery of 6 slides that give you kind of a preview of the book with Murphy humor and the drawings, and also it talks about how everything we need is here in us and how we can shift into another level of awareness through this impression of sensing this life force in us. And so if you want to look at BeliefNet, it's right on page 1 today.
So it's belief.net?
Yeah, BeliefNet. No, it's beliefnet.com. BeliefNet.com, yes. But you can go to FranShawBooks.com also. And the book is on Amazon. There's a Kindle version on Amazon, too, of Lord Have Mercy. So you can just go to Amazon, and that also has lots of pull quotes from the book and stuff like that. If you want to go to FranShawBooks.com, though, you can see the drawings, or you can see them on BeliefNet.com today also. Yeah, Wonderful. That's about it, if you wish.
Yeah, no, it's really a remarkable book. It's the kind of book, though, that, I read it this week because of the show, but it's the kind of book, I feel like you could go back and you could read it again at a little bit deeper level and get something different each time you read it. What do you think?
That's a wonderful compliment. That's actually how I feel about another book that I did, Notes on the Next Attention. I feel like at any moment, I've looked at it over the past, several months, and it's new each time I look at it. It's amazing to me, but it's wonderful. Sometimes you can just turn to any page in Murphy and read a few just a few paragraphs, and it's like you're immediately cheered up. For some reason, it breaks that hold. Maybe it's the humor of it. It just breaks the hold of whatever thing has kind of got me in the grips at that moment, and I realized that, wow, what am I fretting over that for? Wait a minute, as Murphy says, is that the sun blazing gold across the horizon? I hadn't noticed because my world has shrunk to the size of a kumquat. It's like, it's sort of like, oh, let's wake up a little bit right now. Let's see. And so I think that I'm glad when you say that, because it helps me too.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think it's also about not taking ourselves so seriously, getting out of ourselves, being able to see something more by just not, like the kumquat. philosophy of just sort of being sort of hunkered down in this self, so I guess
it's
excellent.
freeing. It's very freeing. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about this contact, even for a few seconds with this other energy. It's freedom from fear and being anxious, and free just to be myself, just paying attention to what this amazing, enlivening force that's flowing through us that we can actually perceive, not theoretically, but actually perceive it. And it's by its very nature full of a kind of a goodness, It's like that is the love streaming through. That does bring compassion. That's the energy. So we can live in a new way. We are shifting into it at certain moments, and from it comes our best action in the world, for sure.
That's really true. That's really true. It's interesting you were saying that Murphy, in a way, was channeled through you, and that this isn't totally your voice, it's Murphy, that he sort of was an entity of his own that came forward. However, on page 119 of your book, I'm wondering if that's Fran Shaw. Is it Murphy? Because you have a list of bulleted points like to really see and know myself well, having intention without expectation, which I love. That list, is this you? Is it Murphy? Is it both of you?
You're absolutely psychic, because I was just thinking about wanting to mention that particular page. There's a chapter at the end of the book where Murphy sort of gives a vision of this new world that is awaiting us, that we're stepping into, where old mind is receding and we're sort of living in a new way. That bulleted list is absolutely pure Fran. And the fact that you could...
That's what I thought.
That you could tell the difference, the other voice in the book, because there's two voices in the book, there's also the editor's voice in the book.
Oh, God, I love the editor.
That's Fran. That's Fran, the writing teacher, Fran, the spiritual seeker. Every now and then, Fran, in the editor's voice, breaks into Murphy, because he goes at breakneck speed and very funny, and just says little things to Murphy to kind of say, oh, did you mean this by this? And, oh, could you clarify what you mean by this by this? And there's also some hidden transmissions sort of that come to me, through me, that are in the editor's voice. So there's another voice in the book, but that bulleted list on 119 of this vision of a new world in which we are, coming into this higher level of higher consciousness more often during the day, that's Fran, and you are extremely perceptive to pick that up.
Yeah, no, I love this page. I have your book dog-eared, and so this page, I love this one, as I mentioned before, having intention without expectation. Say something about that, and boy, is that hard for us as humans.
Well, the good news is that at a certain moment, my attention, if it really does connect with this other energy, and I don't have expectation that it will happen, but, perhaps it will, because it's happened many, many times before, and sometimes that then really expectation drops away, because actually, everything personal drops away. It's as if you're just newborn pure awareness, clean slate. So the idea is that I work and I try to pay attention, not for any result, but just to be able to be in the process.
Yes. No, I think it's wonderful. I have to stop. I wasn't even looking at the clock because I'm so enjoying our conversation, but the show is ending. And Fran, thank you so much for being here. And please get her book, Lord Have Murphy. It's great. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Susan. Pleasure to speak with you.
And thank you, my awakened listeners, for paying attention and knowing who you are and then doing what it is you are here to do. Next week, we have Lee Gant telling us life-changing stories from her book, Love in Every Stitch. Until then, this is Dr. Susan reminding you that you carry the light.
You've been listening to the transformative show, We Carry the Light, with host Dr. Susan Allison, the show that inspires you to find the light within and shine your light in the world. Who are you right now, and who do you want to be? What is it that makes you happy, helps you feel fulfilled, and living your purpose? Tune in every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and let Dr. Susan help you discover that you carry the unique light that only you can shine.
preceding audio was via a Skype call.